Fraction walls are a great mathematical tool that allows students to compare and order fractions and help develop an understanding of equivalent fractions. This is our fraction wall, which was created by repeatedly subdividing a common unit. In our case, this top strip of paper, representing one whole. Now, looking at a fraction wall is all well and good, but the best way to learn how they work is to actually make one. So that's what we're going to do today. At the end of this video, we will also show you a couple of creative ways you can use your wall to improve your understanding of fractions. Let's get started. To complete your project, we're going to need a few items. An A4 sheet of card, an A4 sheet of paper, a lead pencil, a ruler, a pair of scissors, some coloured pencils, a glue stick, and a felt tip pen. Firstly, take your sheet of A4 paper and place it flat on the table with the long sides at the top and the bottom. With the ruler running horizontally, place the 0 centimeter mark in the top left-hand corner of the page. Measure across this top edge and make a small mark on the paper at 24 centimeters. Repeat this process and make another mark at 24 centimeters on the bottom edge of the page. Then, use your ruler and pencil to draw a vertical line between these two marks. Now, rotate your page 90 degrees so that the pencil line is towards the top of your page. Place the 0 centimeter mark of your ruler on the left edge of the paper and make a series of marks every 3 centimeters along this new line. This should be a good chance to practice skip counting by threes. You should notice that the last mark will be right on the edge of the page at 21 centimeters. Move your ruler down to the very bottom of the page and repeat the same process along the short edge of the page, adding a new pencil mark every 3 centimeters. Then, return your page to its original starting position. Our next step is to connect each of these marks to create a series of 3 centimeter wide strips. Go through now with your ruler and pencil and carefully join the dots. You should now have 7 long rectangles with a length of 24 centimeters and a width of 3 centimeters. Use your scissors to cut out these 7 strips and discard the leftover piece of paper. These are the strips of paper we will be using to construct our fraction wall. We are only going to use 6 of them, but it's always good to have a spare. Now, take your sheet of A4 card and place it on the table. We're going to use this as our backing. Place your first strip of paper at the top of the page with a small gap above it. This strip represents one whole, so write the number 1 in the middle of the strip. Next, place a second strip directly below your first one. We want to divide this strip into 2 equal parts to represent a half. The easiest way to do this? Fold the paper in half, then trace over the crease. Write 1/2, that is 1/2, in the middle of each of these sections. We are now going to divide our next strip into 3 equal parts, that is thirds. We could do this by folding, but it's difficult to do this accurately, so instead we're going to measure with our ruler. Remember, the length of the original strip is 24 centimeters, so each section would be 1/3 of 24, or 24 divided by 3, which is 8 centimeters. Go through now and mark out a line at 8 centimeters and 16 centimeters. Hopefully you can see now why we chose 24 centimeters as our starting length. The next strip in our fraction wall will represent quarters. Now, a quarter is actually half of a half. So instead of folding our paper in half once, we're going to fold it in half twice. Too easy. Write down 1/4 in the middle of each of these sections. our next strip is going to represent 6 equal parts, or sixths. In the same way that a quarter is half of a half, a sixth is actually half of a third. And since our thirds were 8 centimetres long, our sixths will need to be 4 centimetres long. To confirm this, we can calculate 24 divided by 6, which is 4. Go through now and add lines at 4, 8, 12, 16 and 20 centimetres, and then write 1/6 in the middle of each section. Our last strip of paper is going to represent eighths, and if you've been following the pattern, you've probably worked out that an eighth is half of a half of a half. That is 3 folds of the paper. As with the other strips, write down the fraction 1/8 in each of the equal sections. Once you're happy with the placement of your strips, glue each one down, taking particular care to keep the edges lined up. The more accurate you are with this step, the more accurate your fraction wall will be. Once your strips are glued down, colour in each strip with your coloured pencils. I usually recommend using 3 colours. 1 colour for the top strip, 1 hole. A different colour for the strips that you folded, that is 1/2, 1/4 and 1/8. And a third colour for the strips you measured with your ruler, 1/3 and 1/6. Colouring this way really helps highlight the halving relationships between these particular fractions. Add a title to the top of your fraction wall and, if you like, some decorations. As a last step, go back over all your pencil lines with a felt tip pen. And there we go. What an awesome looking fraction wall. But what on earth does it do, you ask? Well, let's look at 3 ways we can use it. The first way we can use our wall is to find equivalent fractions. That is, fractions that have the same value, but different denominators and numerators. The key to understanding the fraction wall is to look at the cracks in the bricks, so to speak. Examine your wall. Have a look at where the cracks line up. Notice how there's a long, almost unbroken line through the middle of our wall. This indicates that 1/2 is the same as 2/4, 3/6 and 4/8. Each of these are equivalent fractions and can be simplified to a half. Can you find any other equivalent fractions in your fraction wall? The second way to use our wall is to compare the relative size of fractions. For example, have a think about which fraction is larger, 1/3 or 3/8. Using our fraction wall and starting from the left edge, we can see that the size of 3/8 is slightly bigger than 1/3. We can check this by finding the lowest common denominator of both these fractions. 1/3 is equivalent to 8/24, and 3/8 is equivalent to 9/24, and 9/24 is slightly larger. The third way we can use our fraction wall is a bit like a calculator. For example, I might ask, what is 1/2 plus 1/6? With our fraction wall, we can see that 1/2 plus 1/6 equals 2/3. Another way we can interpret this is by saying 1/2 is the same as 3/6, and 3/6 plus 1/6 is 4/6, which can then be simplified to 2/3. So there we go. Not only have we made a super versatile handmade fraction wall, but we've also explored 3 unique ways we can use it. I'll leave you with a collection of practice questions to test out your fraction wall and your newfound understanding of equivalent fractions. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Hey there! If you like what we do here at Teach Wonderful, make sure to subscribe to our channel. You'll also find plenty of amazing teaching ideas, student worksheets, and merch, over at teachwonderful.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.